Welcome back to Stone Family Homestead. My name is Tanya. This week I'll be showing you 3 dinners that we had, along with one that I had prepped for myself for work for the week. That would also be a delicious dinner idea. I hope that you enjoy, and thank you for watching. Here's what I'm going to make myself breakfast for the week. It's going to be an egg bake that I may use some of it as in a burrito as well. I will get the hash brown starting to rehydrate along with dicing up the onion and bell pepper. I'll bring you along once I have that done. Now I'm going to assemble everything. The hash browns have been rehydrated, so and I did grease my 8 by 11.5 pan, so first I'm going to pour the rehydrated hash browns on the bottom, even those out. Next I will grab the sausage and pepper and onion mixture, spread that evenly over top. Now I'm going to put my sausage in the skillet to brown up. I do have the peppers and onions diced. Those I'll be adding in once the meat has been browned. But while the meat is browning, I'm going to put my eggs in the blender and add some cottage cheese in there. You don't have to do that. I like to do it because it does give a little extra protein in with the meal, and you can't really taste it. Make that a nice even layer so everybody gets some of all the mixture. And then I will sprinkle actually some sharp cheddar cheese on top of that. I just have some pre-shredded. And you can put however much you want. And then, last but not least, the eggs we just blended up, we'll pour that on top. 10 eggs looks perfect. Amount needed. And then I'll put it in a 350-degree oven that's been preheated, probably for at least 30 to 40 minutes. Check it periodically, see when it's done, and then we'll take it out. I'll show you then. And here's what the egg bake looks like when it's all done. I'm going to let it cool down and then put it away for the breakfast this week. Tonight for dinner we're going to have vegetable soup. Here's everything we're going to need. I'm going to make it in the crock pot and I will show you how we assemble it. Alright, so in the crock pot I'm going to put my meatballs. I've got about 3/4 of a bag of frozen meatballs. It was a 2-pound bag. And then I'm going to add a 12-ounce bag of frozen mixed vegetables. You can use whatever kind of vegetables you like. And then I've got just a little bit of an onion I'm adding in that I diced up. And then you add your jar. I have pizza sauce, but you can use spaghetti sauce is what I usually use. And then I have 3 bouillon cubes because I don't have chicken broth to add. I'm adding that, and then I'll add the 3 cups of water. And then just add the water in, and I'm going to stir it around, and I will cook it on high till it's done. I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. Here's what it looks like after we cooked it for about 3 hours.
Today we are going to be having venison burgers for dinner. Here are all the ingredients that I will be using to make the venison burgers, along with the beans on the side. In my pan I have some vegetable oil and I have my pan preheated, so now you're going to add your burger, or which I'm using venison. Now you're going to want to crumble up your meat and then add your onion. I'm going to let this cook for a little bit so it can brown up. After you get all the onion mixed in with your burger, if you're using burger, but I'm using venison, so for me I'm mixing it all in to my venison. Then we'll season it up. In my seasoning blend, I used 1 teaspoon of Kinder Sublime, and I added about 1 tablespoon of the gourmet burger seasoning, and then you mix it all up and there's your seasoning. Now we're going to add all your whole dish of seasoning, and you're going to mix all your seasoning in and let it finish cooking if it hasn't finished cooking already and browning. Because we don't want to have raw meat. That won't taste good. Okay, now I'm going to make my special sauce, and it's really easy to make. All you need is some Miracle Whip or mayo, that works too. We're also going to add in some ketchup. You can use any kind of brands of ketchup and mayo or Miracle Whip. And now you're going to mix this all up, and then it should turn into a pink color once you're done mixing. And this is what it looks like at the end.
Along with dinner, we're going to have air fryer potato slices that are loaded. Here's everything that we're going to use along with a little bit of cooking spray. I'll bring you back once I'm done slicing the potatoes. I did spray the bottom of my air fryer basket, and then I did slice the potatoes about 1/4 inch thick, and the edge pieces I'm putting the non-skid skin side up, and some of the pieces did not. The edges weren't very thick, so I just left those off. I will put it in to start before I season the top side. You can season it right away if you'd like. I've got 2 pieces left that didn't fit in. I'll get those later, but we're gonna get this going first. All right, I'm putting it in my air fryer, turning it on to 370, and I'll start for about 15 minutes. When it gets to about the halfway point, we'll flip them, season the other side, and let it finish cooking. All right, it's been going about 2 minutes, and the potato tops are really dried up. So then I'll just take some of my vegetable cooking spray and just lightly spritz the top. Now that I've got the top sprayed, I'm going to season it with some ranch seasoning, just sprinkling over the top. The cooking spray helps keep the seasoning on. Then you just put it back in, and I'll start back up and continue cooking. All right, now that it's gone halfway through and they're starting to brown up, I am going to flip these all over to the other side, and then we'll spray the underside and season them all up right away again. So I'm just gonna spray everybody with the cooking spray again, and that will help with the browning as well. And season, if you don't want to do ranch seasoning, you can always put salt and pepper on it. And then I'm just gonna put it back in, let it finish up cooking, or check partway through for doneness, then we'll top it with the cheese and bacon. They cooked for 12 minutes and are coming out fork tender. I'm gonna flip these couple where it's the back side that are up, so then we can top them with the cheese and bacon bits and put it back in for another minute or 2, just till the cheese gets all good and melty and beautiful. So I've got just some shredded cheddar cheese that I'm going to put on top. As much as you want on there, or as little. And if you don't want cheese on it, you don't have to. Like I said, these are great just with salt and pepper, and then dipping in ketchup. Now I'm going to put the bacon bits on, and then I will put it back in for another minute or 2, like I said, till they are all good and melted. And another thing you could also, once they're done with this, if you had, would be green onions on top would be good. But we don't have any of those, so I'm just going to do the bacon bits, and then you can serve it with some sour cream, or just even plain is really good too. Back in for another minute or 2. And here's what they look like. I only had them in about 1.5 minutes. And I'll show you what our plates look like once we get them all dished up.
And this is what it looks like after it's done. And I hope you enjoy.
Tonight for dinner, we're going to be making crunch wraps in the oven. And here's everything that I'm going to be using. I'm going to get the ground meat browning up with that 1/4 of an onion. I probably will grab some frozen diced peppers out of the freezer and put in, but I'll bring you over there once I get that started. I did put the meat in the frying pan along with that 1/4 of an onion and a quarter of a bell pepper or so. I just had some in the freezer from our garden over the summer that I diced up. So I'm gonna finish cooking this until all the meat is browned, and then I'll bring you back once that's. Also, while you're browning up your meat, you'll want to turn your oven on to 350 degrees so it can preheat. The meat is all cooked and the vegetables are softened. I'm gonna add the taco seasoning to it, stir that in. And then I'll get some water, and then we'll start assembling. To assemble it, I did grease my 9x13 pan. I will be putting some burrito-sized tortilla shells in here. I'm going to use about 4 of them. You'll want them to be able to overlap, and that way we can tuck them in. So on the bottom, I'm going to spread bunch of cheddar cheese, nice even layer. If you want, you can put tomatoes, cilantro, lettuce, what have you. Make sure it's spread out evenly. And then I'll come in with some sour cream, put dollops of that on. Taking some tostadas, layering these on next. Looks like it'll take about 6 of them, and you can overlap them as well. On top of this, I'm going to use some shredded Mexican style cheese. I don't have any quesadilla, any nacho cheese. And then on top of that, you'll take your taco meat, spread it over top, nice even layer. And then I'll put another taco shell on top in the middle, and then just fold the edges in. There we go. And then I'm just gonna quick spray the top of it with some cooking spray. Put it in the oven at 350 degrees. And this is what it looks like after it's done.